Hello, Alabama. Braden Rouse considering 4 schools, and BAMA could be the one. Have you been following? First of all, subscribe to the channel. The 2026 linebacker, with a 4-star ranking and an impressive resume coming out of Cal High School in Marietta, Georgia, is about to make a decision that could further redefine the future of the Crimson Tide. Among the 4 schools he is considering, Alabama, Michigan, Tennessee and Texas, there is a growing feeling that Alabama has everything to be the final destination for this young talent. And that, my friends, is no coincidence. Kalen DeBoer, the coach who has proven to be a key piece in this process of building the team for the coming years, is once again showing his ability off the field. It's no secret that recruiting is the beating heart of any successful college football program, and DeBoer understands this like few others. His ability to attract high-level players has been a hallmark since he took over the helm in Tuscaloosa. And in the case of Braden Rouse, the work has already begun in earnest. During the spring, Alabama hosted Rouse for a visit, and the player's own words to Touchdown Alabama were telling. "I honestly loved how the practices went," Rouse said. "It's definitely the type of environment I want to be a part of, and the level of competition is unmatched." When an elite player talks about Alabama's level of competition and standard as something that draws him to it, it's impossible not to remember the tradition of excellence that this program carries. And let's face it, that tradition isn't just sustained by legacy. It's fueled daily by the hard work of coaches like DeBoer, who are tasked with keeping Alabama on top, year after year. The way the coach and his staff have approached Rouse in the recruiting process is a clear example of this. They're not just selling a job, they're selling a philosophy, a winning culture that few programs can offer. But what makes Braden Rouse so special? Well, let's look at the numbers. He's exactly the kind of modern athlete that coaches dream of having on their rosters. He's not only a physical linebacker who can chase the quarterback and tackle power runners. He's also agile enough to drop back in coverage, play in space, and even contribute to the offense when needed. In the 2024 season, Rouse has put up impressive numbers: 105 tackles, 14 tackles for loss, 3.5 sacks, and 5 interceptions. And, as if that weren't enough, he also showed off his offensive skills with 25 receptions for 378 yards and 8 touchdowns. Yes, you read that right, 8 touchdowns as a linebacker. That's something few players can do, and it's exactly the kind of versatility that modern college football demands. The Crimson Tide will be the first to host Rouse on an official visit, on May 30th and June 1st. This is strategic. Giving the player the opportunity to visit campus before other schools is a smart move, as it allows him to experience firsthand the environment, facilities, and energy that surround the program. If Rouse was already impressed by spring practices, imagine the impact a full visit could have. Alabama's state-of-the-art facilities, passionate fans and, of course, its legacy of accomplishments are factors that are hard to miss for any recruit. Michigan, Tennessee and Texas are all respectable programs, to be sure. But when it comes to linebackers, Alabama has a history that is virtually unmatched. Players like C.J. Mosley, Rolando McClain and Don'e Hightower built their careers in Tuscaloosa before shining in the NFL. It's this kind of tradition that Kalen DeBoer and his staff are using as an advantage in recruiting Rouse. And from what we're seeing, it's working. Now, all that's left to do is wait. Visits to other schools will still happen this summer, and each one will try to convince Rouse that it's the right place for him to continue his career. But something tells me that Alabama has a significant advantage at this point. The combination of a visionary coach like DeBoer, a program that exudes excellence, and an environment that seems to align with what Rouse is looking for makes the Crimson Tide the clear favorite. If Braden Rouse does indeed choose Alabama, it will be another chapter in the success story of this program. Let's move on. Perez is another recruit BAMA is keeping an eye on. The defensive end from Glenville High School in Cleveland, Ohio, is about to enter Tuscaloosa's radar with an official offer from the Crimson Tide. The news comes as further proof of the thorough work Kalen DeBoer and his staff are putting into recruiting, especially when it comes to attracting players who can make an immediate difference on the field. The offer to Perez was communicated by Freddie Roach, Alabama's defensive line coach, whose reputation speaks for itself. Roach is known for molding brutal and efficient players on defense, and it's no wonder he's been a key player in building a dominant defensive unit in Tuscaloosa. When asked about Alabama's offer, Perez didn't hesitate to express his admiration for the program. "I feel like it's a great program because of the history of Alabama, the players, the coaches, just the rich history of the program," he told Touchdown Alabama. Those words carry weight, especially when they come from a player who has also received offers from other college football giants like Ohio State, Vanderbilt, and Wisconsin. But what really stands out here is the connection between Perez and Freddie Roach. The young defensive back showed great respect for the coach, saying, "He's a great coach and I feel like he's going to get me where I need to be." That kind of trust is crucial in the recruiting process. Players want to know that they're going to be developed not just as athletes, but as professionals ready for the next level. And with Roach at the helm, Alabama has a powerful asset in that area. He understands like few others how to turn raw talent into war machines on the field. If Perez chooses Alabama, there's a good chance Roach will be the architect of that decision. He's the kind of player who can disrupt any offensive line. His size is intimidating, and even when opponents try to contain him with double teams, he still finds ways to impact the game. Perez attributes his success on the field to his strength, mobility, and confidence. These three traits combined make him an extremely valuable prospect, especially in a defensive scheme that values constant pressure on the opposing quarterback. Ohio State, of course, will be a tough recruiting competitor for Perez. As an Ohio product, he naturally has a connection to the state and the university. However, Alabama has something few programs can offer, a winning machine that seems to work regardless of changes in coaching. The program's rich history, combined with DeBoer's innovative style and Roach's coaching expertise, creates a package that is hard to ignore for any ambitious player. Now, all that's left to do is wait for the official visit. If Perez can set foot in Tuscaloosa and experience the unique environment that Alabama provides, his chances of donning the red and white increase considerably. The world-class facilities, culture of excellence and passionate fan base are elements that often seal the deal for high-profile recruits. And with a player like Perez, who has already shown his admiration for the program, Alabama has all the cards in its bag. For Crimson Tide fans, this is yet another reason for optimism. While Michigan, Tennessee, and Texas are competing for Braden Rouse, Alabama is also making moves on other fronts, such as Jameer Perez. So how will this recruitment play out? We're following along. There are iconic stories about Coach Saban that you may not know. On the Triple Option podcast, NFL draft analyst Todd McShay revealed a side of himself that Alabama fans are familiar with: Nick Saban's intensity. McShay said that during Saban's golden years as the Crimson Tide coach, he would get calls from the legendary coach whenever one of his mock drafts didn't put Alabama players in the positions Saban thought were fair. There were 5 or 6 times every once in a while in the decade he was there, McShay said, recalling calls from Saban's assistant, Miss Linda, that would mark the beginning of a heated conversation. "I would get that call and think, wow, I'm going to set up a call for Nick to call and criticize me," the analyst confessed, with a mix of humor and respect. And who can blame Saban? The coach who led Alabama to 6 national titles during his tenure at the program had a keen eye for talent and an unwavering belief in his players. When he saw a mock draft with McShay's name at the top, if he didn't agree, he didn't hesitate to call and make his opinion known. This story, while a bit of a bygone era, is a reminder of the standard of excellence that Alabama holds dear and that Kalen DeBoer is now tasked with upholding. Saban not only built championship teams, but he also championed his players like family, making sure the world knew the value of every young man who donned the crimson uniform. And that's exactly the spirit that fans hope to see reflected in the new administration. DeBoer, who arrived with a reputation as a brilliant strategist and charismatic leader, is already making his mark. He inherited a program that, even after Saban's departure, continues to attract the best talent in the country and produce players ready to shine in the NFL. The upcoming 2025 NFL Draft is proof of that. Year after year, Alabama has been drafting players in the first round, and the expectation is that this tradition will continue under DeBoer. McShay, on the podcast, mentioned that Saban has been right on the money in his criticisms, while he himself has also been right on the money. This exchange, although it seems like a mere anecdote, reveals how much Alabama, even behind the scenes, has always been in the spotlight of American football. Saban knew his players were special, from stars like Mark Ingram, who also appeared on the podcast, to so many others who went from Tuscaloosa straight to the NFL spotlight. And now, with DeBoer, the program is in a new phase, but with the same winning DNA. The coach, who has already proven his worth in previous stints, such as at the University of Washington, has shown that he understands the responsibility of leading Alabama. He has brought a modern approach, with a dynamic offense and a mentality that combines discipline with creativity, something that fans are eager to see in action next season. Saban's phone call to McShay, recounted with an almost nostalgic tone by the analyst, also serves as a symbol of how much Alabama means to those who come through it. It's not just a team, it's an institution that shapes careers and creates lifelong bonds. When McShay says he's glad to get Saban off my back lately, you can sense the relief, but also the respect for a coach who never let anything slip by unnoticed. That's the standard DeBoer now holds, and the signs are promising. Spring practice has shown a hungry team, with young talent emerging and veterans taking on leadership roles. The defense, always a hallmark of Alabama, remains ferocious, while the offense, under DeBoer's tutelage, promises to be more explosive than ever. Let us know what you think.